For my informative speech, I decided to talk about food regulation laws and food safety. Why I chose this topic is that I think food regulation laws and the regulation around the safety and consumers and how it's marketed towards consumers is a very interesting topic, and one it's also very important for companies to not trick consumers and also manufacture the right one in having their foods regulated so that we aren't eating stuff that are poisonous or having additives added without there being a sort of regulations to them. And so for my informative speech, I decided to focus on three main ideas, which are one, the definition of food regulations laws and why they're so important. And I could also expand on a bit of the international agencies, but I'll mainly focus in the United States. So leading to my second point are the regulation laws in the US and how there are many agencies such as the FDA and the USDA, which are the main ones that regulate our foods. However, there are smaller agencies within the United States. I believe there's more than 5 that work to regulate our laws, such as this one I know for alcohol and brewing. And then my last point is to talk about food labels in relation to our food laws. With all the foods that are packaged and manufacturers sold to consumers, there are regulations for that involved. And so to expand, I'll be talking about the SOI, the standard of identities for foods, and how manufacturers aren't allowed to market a food items as a certain product. For example, maple syrup can't be sold as maple syrup if it doesn't follow a certain regulation. And so I'll also be talking about the ingredient list for foods. And then finally, I'll touch on adulterated versus misbranding, on how companies could market their products to trick consumers. And for my sources, I found the food labeling guide by the US FDA, which I can use as like an overview to talk about its involvement in regulation laws. And finally, another source I found is the Code of Federal Regulations under Title 21, the main one for our food. I also can use that to help talk about the certain standards and nutrition claims companies are allowed. So thank you.